This is the Final Round Podcast, coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt. Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to episode number 44 of the Final Round Drag Racing Podcast. It's been a little over a month since we were together, so that means that we missed two shows. A little bit different situation for us on Mondays with Crash Course, but it has been a busy couple weeks. We've got an awesome guest lined up tonight. We're going to be talking to Nitro Joe, the renowned statistician from out in Ohio, to talk a little bit about his background and just basically all the information that he has compiled since he started collecting statistics back in the mid-'90s. It's really cool to have him on and hanging out with us for a little while. Jason Oldfield able to make the drive in, squeezing in time out of his busy schedule and new profiteers occupations to come and hang out with us here in Seneca Falls. It's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been a while. It's good to see you out of the infirmary.
Yes. It's been an up and down stretch. Initially, we were going to miss a week because of basically a family vacation that we plan on going to South Carolina. Upon our return, the studio was shut down because we had such excessive heat. It wasn't safe to be up here on the third floor because there's no air conditioning. And within a day or so of that, I was diagnosed with pneumonia, which put me out for 2 weeks plus. And now here we are.
Millions of dollars of lost television revenue.
Yes, literally dozens of dollars.
Right.
If you compile all of the potential YouTube advertising, I bet you it equates to $3.86.
Probably not a lot, but
not much.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad to be back on the air. I enjoy doing the show, so it's good to be back.
And now we've already planned out what we're doing at the production meeting afterwards too.
Oh, we going on the road?
Huh?
Oh, you and I, you mean, in our production meeting? Oh, yes. Well, we do need to go on the road actually too.
We need to do that at some point.
Yeah,
we got to get one of the beginning of June, which sort of set the first domino that fell to put us in motion for this stretch of a little over a month. We were at a live event set to live stream, and something happened to the streaming computer, and it now doesn't capture any video content. You can plug in all the USBs, and it'll recognize data, but it won't recognize video input. And I've been trying to work with our streaming platform, and they keep saying, we'll get in touch with you, and then we get nothing. So I'm going to get a hold of them again next week and remind them that it's now been 2 months that we've been down and that we've gotten nowhere. I think it's tied to some sort of push update from Microsoft, because it doesn't matter what we use. I have a backup streaming platform on that computer, and then I have a subsequent video capture device that won't allow us to stream, but we can at least live mix something so that we don't have to video each individual segment and then upload them individually. It'll give us a contiguous piece. Neither of those would work via USB, and all three of those systems wouldn't recognize the onboard camera that's mounted in the top so that you can Skype or what have you. So something has gone awry. We do have the graphics computer that I retrofitted so that we could do an event the following week, but I don't like putting that computer out there as the primary, because now it's so loaded down with graphics and data and stuff like that. It's just not an ideal situation in my opinion.
You want to borrow my iPhone?
I want to get a Sling Studio. That's what I want to do. But that's one of those things where you can say, I want to get a Rolls Royce.
I would say there's lots of things that I want.
Yeah, I want a boat.
Right. I want a faster race car. I want a bigger trailer. Yeah, there's lots of things that I want. But
you got the new scoop on the car, I see.
No. That was just a joke. Yeah. Phil wanted to take my hood and basically put it on his car and fool everybody into thinking that we put a new hood scoop on his car. I'm pretty sure that his Camaro was going to go to the grave with the 1980-ish era snorkel scoop that I think they're collector's items now.
Yeah. How did you have to replace or fix that one after that wreck?
No, actually, believe it or not, when I
okay.
crashed the car, the only thing, there was a little chip out of the corner of the hood that had to be fixed, but that was it. The hood was actually not really damaged. So,
Cool.
yeah, I got lucky from that standpoint.
And it didn't break the T-tops, right?
It did not. No, the T-top survived, yes. And fuzzy dice, hanging in on my mirror in the car, those were okay, too.
I think the car would be faster if you took the plush carpet out.
One of the things I'd like to do, I'd like to try actually, is to put the headlight covers on the front of them, because the headlights on that car really are just two deep cavities, and I'm really curious as to if what kind of mile an hour you'd pick up by blocking those off. I bet you it's more than I would expect.
Well, it's only money.
Yeah, one of these. Well, it's money, but it's also the way that the car looks, and I kind of have to ask the car owner if we can do that, right? So,
as long as you're willing to do it, and he doesn't have to do anything, I'm sure he'd be fine with it, right?
Yeah, he might be. Yeah, he might be.
So we've got Nitro Joe joining us here. Nitro Joe, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing okay. I don't want to make you wait in the wings too long. I think it's awesome what you've been doing in terms of collecting all this information and compiling it. Obviously, you like reading and sitting in front of computers, and the thrill of the hunt's got to be a big part of that too. How did you get started? And well, I guess before we even get into how you started it, what is it specifically that you've endeavored to do, and where's it led you to?
Well, what it is I do alcohol all the way to stock eliminator and stats. And what it is I just take everybody's best run, where they've done it, what round they've done it, what race they've done it, and just kind of compiled it, into the stat book. And like for stock, super stock, it's in the book, it's by classes, the fastest guy in the class to the slowest guy in the class. And I mean, anymore, you can't go to the snack bar and lie about how fast you went, because we got you.
So when you say everybody, we're talking about coast to coast?
Yeah, if you run an NHRA national event, you're in the book.
Okay.
Or not any NHRA event. We're talking national open, national event, division race. If you run any of them, you're in the book.
Now, what if you have a track that's NHRA sanctioned or something and running that class on a somewhat weekly basis or something?
No.
That doesn't stand in the book?
That doesn't count.
Okay.
I've thought about doing stuff like that because we got so many different associations out there now.
Sure.
Like the Great Lakes, the Buckeye Deal, the Atlantic Super Stock Association. You got Dave Lay's deal over there, the East Coast deal. I mean, I've thought about it at times if I could. The biggest thing is getting the stuff after the race. Right,
getting the people to buy into it. So, with the way that you're compiling this stuff and looking at it event wise, and sort of breaking it down to see if anybody's done better, done worse, what have you. I got two questions actually. One, the first one is, when was the last time? What's the longest stretch you've gone without being able to leave your house?
Oh, see, that's the downfall of things. I go racing almost every single weekend because my parents still race, and I go when they go, I go. I mean, they're in their late 70s, and I'm about the only one that helps them out at times. So just wherever they go, I go. I've been on been about 5 weeks now we've been racing.
Wow.
Yeah,
I get to do the stats when I get home, or sometimes at the races, if I sit my butt down to do it, that's the worst thing. You try to do stuff at the races, and as well as I do, you want to get out with the guys and talk after the race is over and stuff. You don't want to be sitting in that motor home sitting in front of the big eye.
With the stuff being compiled by division, but you're also looking at this as the events happen. Have you been able to put together a type of record book that also reflects back on the events just by reorganizing the information that you got? Because I think that'd be a pretty cool.
I do everything on a system that I made a long time ago. And
really?
I mean, all I got to do is if you ran super stock and stock, you said, okay, I want to see what I did back in 2013 at so and so race. I can go right there.
Yeah, so you've been doing this a long time. Right before we got on the show, I was just giving Chris a little bit of background, of your parents. Now, Joe, did your mom race modified eliminator?
My dad raced modified eliminator.
Your dad raced modified. All
yeah,
right.
My mom runs super stock. She was the last Mopar factory driver to race NHRA. Of all the factory drivers that had the 68 cars, the 65 cars, she was the last one standing that was race competitively in NHRA.
And when was that? How long did that?
She quit she hasn't quit. She says she's on hiatus. But she hasn't raced in 2 years now. She had a rotator cuff surgery a couple years ago and still healing up, and we still got her dragster sitting there ready to go.
I have to say, I didn't realize that your mom hadn't raced in the last couple of years.
She hasn't raced in 2 years now.
Okay, yeah. But, I mean, your parents are legends, really, within the sports as far as sportsman racers go. And, I know you've been publishing your stats for a long, long time.
95 is when I started them.
And it's a lot easier. Obviously, it's a lot easier to do that nowadays than it was in 1995. I mean, where did you get all the information from back then?
Oh, back then it was so hard because everything was hand input. I had a hand type everybody's run in, and you got sheet copies. I would talk to the division directors, and they would send me sheet copies and fax. You ever see a piece of paper that's been faxed 3 or 4 times, and you're trying to make sure if it's an 8 or a 0?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So real quick,
like that. But the first 5 years of doing the stats, oh man, until after 2000, and the computer era really started coming on. Then where you got things a lot easier and stuff. Then.
And I guess what was the idea behind you even doing all this, Joe?
You ain't going to believe this. Back when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, I used to do this stuff in school, just what I was getting out of National Dragster. I have old modified stats that I just wrote down by hand.
Okay.
Because my parents still have that because my mom showed me a couple of weeks ago one of the books I did. Because I just made them into regular books after a race was over. I'd make it into a book, and I'd cut out pictures out of the National Dragster and make my own publication type deal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just for kids. This is just my own,
Sure.
I was the only one seen it. You know what I'm saying?
So we got to go backwards quick because you can't just gloss over this. You're, real quick, your mom said that she's on hiatus. Does she still have that factory car?
No, she's got the Super Comp Dragster. The factory Dodge is in Switzerland.
Of course it is.
Yep.
They love.
Yeah, she got put into the Hall of Fame last year, the Mopar Hall of Fame.
That's awesome.
Oh, did she really? Wow.
Yes.
I guess
over there in Carlisle last year, she got inducted into the Mopar Hall of Fame.
That's great. Joe, give the phone to your mom.
I wish she was here. She's about 20 miles down the road.
I've seen a ton of the full-size Chryslers and full-size Dodges, Poleros, Furies, and Newports, New Yorkers, stuff like that, Imperials get sold over there. They love those things.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they go over there a ton. So, I mean, that
was the first year we'd ever been to that Chrysler thing last year, and it was just, we were in awe. It was unreal.
Yeah. So
it was good.
So you said before you used to have to plug the information in basically by hand. You had to type it in, and now you've got a system where I say I ran this race, such and whatever, and you can pull it up. Mm-hmm. You wrote the computer system that got this to that point. You wrote the whole system.
Well, I built it up. It's off an Excel file and all that stuff, but I more or less set everything up to make it a lot easier for myself.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things you hit, and like when you hit put the class in, the index already comes up and everything, stuff like that.
Yeah, I would say, like you said, you primarily
I made all the formulas and all that stuff.
Yeah, you primarily did it for yourself, right? Just because it became such a hassle to do it manually.
Right.
Now,
That's so cool.
Back in the 90s when you were doing this, I know you would have subscribers all over the country that would want copies of your stats. Initially, was it published? Did you print them out on paper copies and mail them to people? Is that was initially?
What I did, I went and bought it, and I still got it sitting over here in the other room. I bought a Xerox copying machine. It had its own stacker thing in it,
Yeah.
and it had its own stapler in there, and my wife and I, we spent probably 2-3 days putting these books together, then carrying them all to the post office. Boy, the people at the post office, they just looked at me funny when we go to send these big brown envelopes out, and you'd have a couple hundred of them big brown envelopes to send out and stuff.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I just remember being online. I guess, let's call it AOL, message boards and stuff like that. And remember seeing notifications. Hey, the latest stats are going to go out, later this week or whatever. And I mean, I'd never seen the stats.
Just Monday, I put a thing out, and now the way things have got nicer now, where I can send out a PDF file by internet before you even get the book now.
Right. Oh, so you still send a book out as well?
Oh yeah, I have so many old racers. Every time I threaten that I'm not going to do the book no more, we're just going to do it by email and PDF file, they said no, we got to have the book.
It's funny because the way you kind of got started in this is somewhat similar, I guess, if you will, to what I used to do when I was a kid too. My dad was racing super gas at Lancaster. When we first started racing, it was an 8-car qualified field, and my dad wanted to know what everybody was doing. So I would sit there just at the starting line and watch every single pair of runs, and I'd write down. First, it was just the ETs, and then I was able to get ETs a mile an hour, and then I was able to finagle my way into the tower and basically write down reaction times and stuff. And it got to the point where my dad actually said, you know what, it's not really fair of us to have this information just for ourselves. You should start taking this around to all the racers. And so my normal Friday night deal was I was the stat collector, and then I would take, we called it, quote unquote, the sheet. I would take the sheet around and show it to all the drivers so they could look to see what everybody ran and what their reaction times were. And it was all done by hand, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Nowadays you just wait 30 seconds until after the last pair goes, and the tower prints one out for you and gives it to you, and you're done. But
a lot of these people that race nowadays, I still got my old time cards laying right here by the desk from when I raced in '79. They're all hand.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hand printed.
Yep. We still have a whole bunch of those at the house too.
And we didn't have reaction times back then, but you were smart enough when you left that start line. You knew whether you were in trouble or not.
That's right.
You didn't have reaction time to tell you whether you were in trouble or not.
That's right. Now you raced a little bit, but for the most part, you've really been just helping your mom and dad, right?
Oh, I raced for 17 years before I quit. I quit in '95. My legs were just getting too bad and stuff for me to race and stuff. So.
Oh, okay. I honestly didn't realize that you had raced that long.
Yeah, I won an IHRA national event, and I got runner-up at the La Grande Nationals, and what was that, '88.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. And you were running Super Comp?
Yeah. Yeah, I started out with Super Gas with a Roadster, and then I did decent with that car, and then I got that dragster, and that dragster was my moneymaker.
Yep. Now, I guess I'm curious. So, your dad's car's name is the Scratcher, right?
Yes.
Where did the name come from?
He was messing around one night, him and a bunch of guys. They were in a gravel pit. They were out there doing donuts and messing around, and one guy said, "You better watch out, that Scratcher's going to get you." Back then, they called them land, the earth movers that, got the side of the, when they were down in them big, whatever you want to call them, hitting the side of the mountains and stuff, they called them Scratchers.
Oh.
And that's going to be the name of my car.
Now, how many, now your mom's car, is that the Scratcher 2?
Well, it was Scratcher 2, but we've just kind of named them all Scratcher. Back when she had the Nova, it was always Scratcher 2 because it was TOO.
Yeah, right.
Scratcher TOO, and then I was Scratcher Junior.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always wondered where the name had come from. But, I know that the cars have been named that for as long as I can remember.
Well, one thing about it, I tell everybody, I said, nobody's going to ever copy that name.
I would probably agree with that. I think that'll be a pretty unique name for quite a long time.
Yeah, they've been both racing since '64, so they've been at it for a while.
Wow. And I guess, did your mom and your dad meet at the races?
Oh, yeah. Well, they went to school together and everything.
And basically both had an interest in cars and both got into racing?
Yeah, my Grandpa Pete got her started in car because she won the Nationals in '64.
No kidding.
Yeah, D-Stock Automatic. She won 64 Nationals there.
Wow.
What car was that?
That was a 58 Pontiac Sheepin.
Okay. Yeah.
And that car had won the Daytona 500 before they got it.
What?
Yeah, on the beach.
What happened to that car?
It's probably in a cube somewhere in the landfill.
No. Man. That's painful to hear.
Yeah, I know. Because they always talk about if any car they would like to have back, they'd like to have that one back.
I would think.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Pontiac Chieftain.
Yeah,
Pontiac Chieftain wasn't a small car.
Her husband, Dennis Moore, he's got the 65 car.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you think about how valuable that car would be today, right?
Oh.
I mean, not only did it win the Daytona 500, but it was also the Nationals winner as well.
Right.
Yeah, huge money.
Yep. And I still got all them trophies too.
That's super cool. I can only imagine. How many national events, I guess, do you guys have between the three of you?
Let's see. Dad's won. Well, he has won an AHRA. The 1 year alone, he won 5 national events in AHRA.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say he's probably won 14 or 15 if you want to put all of them, the IHRA ones he's won,
Yeah.
the AHRA ones he's won, and the NHRAs. He's probably won 15, and I know she's won 3.
Yeah, that's...
and I won 0. Well, I won the IHRA one, so you call 1.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that counts. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Especially considering the fact that, when you won yours, IHRA was obviously, a lot more popular.
Well, back then, AHRA was more popular than IHRA.
Yeah, that's true. It was very, very popular at that point in time. Well, that's
in the 70s, all we did was run up and down the road growing up. Doing these AHRA meets. We rode in the front seat of a 70 Nova on the back of the car hauler.
Say that again?
When we were traveling back then, there was 4 of us boys.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
We rode in my mom's super stock Nova on top of the car hauler while they rode in the truck. We went all the way. I mean, we went out to Arizona, Texas. I mean, we've been all over the place in that car.
I mean, I wanted you to clarify that because I was pretty sure that's how I understood it.
Yeah, it's illegal now.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you'd get pulled over within 5 minutes and thrown in jail for sure.
Yeah.
But
And what was so funny back then, if we would do any messing around at all, the car would start shaking on the hauler.
Right.
And Dad would blow the horn once. He always told us if you got to blow the horn twice, he's pulling over.
I gotta believe it had to be at least borderline legal then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, as a kid, I rode in the back of my dad's pickup truck as a kid, right? And I mean, that was perfectly acceptable back then.
Right.
I mean, nowadays, if you saw someone driving down the road with their little kid in the back of a pickup truck, most people would probably call 911, right? And be like, you're endangering the life of this child.
Hey, you guys are up there in New York. We went up there the year that track opened up in Rochester.
Oh, Empire, yeah.
Okay.
1972, the Empire Nationals. My dad won modified. My mom was runner-up in Superstock.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
I would say this weekend at Empire is probably their biggest, let's call it, race of the year. It's their Gold Cup, and that would have been actually the race that your dad, that you guys would have been at, actually, was the Gold Cup.
Yep. Because we got on the cover of the IHRA paper after that race.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
That's our home track. It's a great place. Jerry Scatia owns it now. He's put a bunch of money into it. It's just a great place to race now, thankfully.
I remember it was nice when it was brand new when we got there.
Right.
I think that was the first race.
I think it was. I actually believe it was. I heard a quick story this past weekend that my understanding was that they kind of built the track and then there was some type of issue with, I don't know, money or the town or something. So then it actually, I guess, sat done but really empty for like a year before they had their first race there. So, and yeah, the first race, like I said, was in '72 there, and I think that was the very first race at the track.
Yeah, and then I used to, with my roadster, I can't think of what that track's name there in that little 8-mile track that has the round track that if you miss if you get out of shape, you'll go in the corner 3.
Well, that's Lancaster.
Lancaster. Yeah, I used to run the quick 16 deal there with my roadster.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, what I used to do. This is back in the early '80s. If you guys remember, they used to pay $2,500 there.
Yeah.
On their bracket, certain bracket nights, and they paid $2,500 up at Cayuga.
Right.
And it was only a 5-hour drive for me back then. You were talking cents on the gallon back then. It wasn't nothing for me to run up there real quick and do both those races because I used to stay with Gary Grainer.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
That's super funny because, even at the time, it's like I probably seen pictures of your car and thought to myself, oh, that's, just like the Jackson's car, but it can't be them because they're not from around here. I didn't realize that there were people traveling from that far away to race there. Yeah,
back then, when you paid that $2,500 back in the 80s was big money.
Oh, yeah, yep.
$35 entry fee for $2,500. Okay, we'll get some of this.
Right.
Unfortunately, $2,500 is not a big payout in the landscape, but for where we are, $2,500 is still a pretty good chunk of money.
Oh, $2,500 around here is still a decent purse. Yeah, that's the real downside is the fact that,
and that's all walks of motorsports. No matter what you're looking at, when they were paying $1,500 in the '70s and '80s, it was a big deal, and now unfortunately they're still at the same spot.
Well, you know what's sad, guys? Back when I quit racing in '95, the payout for Super Gas Super Comp at a divisional race is exactly the same amount of money as it is today. Yep. But the entry fee is so much higher.
23 years ago,
Yeah, yeah. Dilcher, a couple of stories. We had Paul Dilcher on the show before, and I know Paul pretty well, and I forget what he told me that he won when he won the World Finals in 1970, but it was astronomical. My uncle, when he was racing pro stock, I think it was in 73. It's either 72 or 73. I think it was 73 when they were running the Mopar missile that those guys on the team all made enough money that my uncle was able to buy a new car, a house, and go on vacation and support his family all with their winnings.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the payout was a lot better back then because when I won that deal at Marion, the IHRA Sports Nationals, I won, I think it was like $8,600.
Yeah, inflation adjusted.
That's good for IHRA.
Right, yeah. And
then I got runner-up there at the Grand Nationals the week before that, and I walked out of that place with over $6,000.
Right,
wow.
Right.
Pretty good.
So
I guess
you can't get that for runner-up anymore.
What's the state, I guess, let's call it, of, I'll call it class racing, if you will, super stock, super gas, super comp stock. What's the state of that kind of racing in Ohio with NHRA? Is it really any different than it is out here? You guys obviously...
I still consider Division I, Division III, and probably Division IV the 3 toughest divisions going for the superclass racing.
There's definitely some tough competitors, especially when you start talking, stock and super stock for sure. Yeah,
I'm talking with super classes mainly on that. Now, 1 and 3 is definitely tough in stock, super stock. In the super classes anymore, there is no slouches out there.
No, there's not.
Anybody can pull off a good reaction time and run a 90.
That's right.
It ain't like the old days where, okay, this guy's only going to go about 96, 97, and we can back her down just a little bit here.
Right.
Anybody can pull off the perfect run anymore.
Yep. So is your home track, would you consider Dragway 42 your home track then?
Oh, let's see. I got Trails is an hour away from me. Norwalk is 35 minutes. 42 is 35 minutes. Quaker City is an hour or 2 hours. But, I would consider 42. I've had a lot of history at 42.
Yeah. I say first off, and this is with love, but I hate you. I always joke with the guys that all the Division I guys that I traveled mostly with down along the coast there. It's like, oh, boo-hoo, I had to travel 2 hours to Atco today, and it's like they had Maple Grove was an hour, Englishtown was an hour, Atco was an hour, Cecil County was like 2 hours. Atco might have been 2 hours. I'm like, are you guys out of your minds? I'm like, give me a break. But yeah, I mean, you got 4 really nice tracks within an hour of where you live. That's
right. Well, it makes you appreciate it more. I lived in Dothan, Alabama for a couple of years in the late 70s, early 80s, and my closest drag strip was 4 hours away.
Yeah.
So it makes you appreciate these 2-hour drives that you got to do every once in a while.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I don't know if you know Jeff Jackson or not out in the West Coast, but I've talked to him, and
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he doesn't like to hear me whining about my 6-hour drives to Maple Grove and stuff like that. He's like, "What are you kidding? It's like 6 hours is the closest race that we have."
Some of them Division 6, 7 racers. I pity those guys. What they got to do.
Yeah, it's they're in some pretty rough shape from it. I don't think you can do it anymore. I mean, you probably just can't justify it.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Seattle for the national event if you're living up in the Portland or Seattle area, and that's pretty much it. I mean, how could you justify going down to Pomona?
Right. I tell people anymore, people's got to support these little series going like what you guys have got. You got to support them, because if you don't have them, you're not going to have nowhere to race.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
You've got to support these deals.
Right. So I guess along those lines, let's talk about this race at Dragway 42. How did you get involved with this? I mean, have you been running a stock super stock series?
Yes, I've helped Jeff Ross. He's more or less the owner of the Buckeye Stock Super Stock Series, and I've been the race director for him. This is our 6th year of doing this.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been doing it for 6 years, and then the Great Lakes Association, I think this is their 2nd year of their association. That's at Mike Delaney and Charlie Downing.
Yep.
And Brad Zakowski. They're more or less in charge of that deal. They got a hold of us over the winter and said, hey, let's put a race together that we could do both series at one track.
Okay.
And so we got together and agreed on putting it at 42, and here it is. It's coming up next week. So the winner on Saturday is getting a Wally. I don't know if you had seen them on the internet, but
That's
they
cool.
had pictures of them on the internet. The winner and runner-up is getting a Wally.
Oh, no, I didn't realize that.
And then on Sunday, our normal trophies are the old eye-tray type trophies with just the man stand there. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. We're giving away the winner and runner-up one of them trophies.
Yeah.
That's Sunday.
That's super cool.
Putting a series like that together where you're going to focus on running at one track, where you've got input from a couple different tracks. You got input coming from a couple different series to do something at one track. What was it like trying to get the rule book together that made everybody happy? Because a lot of times you see...
It's just basically super stock rules.
It's
same for NHRA, and then we allow the iTray classes, plus we allow nostalgia cars. I hate to say this, and everybody cover your ears up if you run stock, super stock. It's a bracket race.
Yeah, and honestly, Joe, I mean, I was curious how this is done, because you allow all the different classes, but...
And how we qualify is off reaction time, so you don't have to keep... the only thing I keep track of is I make sure... Like the legal stock, super stock cars that run iTray and NHRA, they got to run under their index.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got, and now the nostalgia cars, there's no way you can police them on the index deals because they run on half-second indexes, so we just allow them to dial anything they want to dial.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I was curious.
I'm like, I qualify off of reaction time because there is no index for them guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, that makes sense. But I mean, that's a nice way to do it, right? Because now you can basically, like I said, it's a bracket race, and it gives these guys some place to go and race their cars.
Yeah, but I'm a ladder person. Everything's got to be on ladders. It takes a human element away from everything. Nobody can come and scream and say, "Oh, you made sure that I had to run this guy for first round." No, that ain't happening.
I would say we, for the West New York SuperRod Association, we do a ladder as well. We do a qualified field. It's all run, but we do a ladder, and we run a pro ladder actually, rather than.
Well, you run the pro ladder, huh?
Yeah, we run a pro ladder. I mean, I just feel like if you go out and you're number one qualifier, like you said, I mean, in general, anybody can get themselves to get a good reaction time and run a good ET. But if you get yourself a number one qualifier and you're running on a sportsman ladder, running a guy who qualifies in the middle of the pack isn't necessarily really an advantage. So yeah, I wanted to make it so that the guys that qualified first, in theory, are going to run the guys that let's call it qualified, quote unquote, worst. Now,
right.
Obviously, with breakouts, right? The worst qualifier.
Like the guy who goes 970, he's going to be clear down to the bottom.
Right. Of course, who knows? Today's day and age, the last qualifier might have run an 89 with a 9, and that's not somebody I would want to pull first round. But
right.
But yeah. So we run a pro ladder. But I've always been a ladder guy going back from when we ran Super Gas at Lancaster a million years ago. Like I said, we were an 8-car qualified field, and you went on a ladder. That's the way it went. And I guess I'm just.
I ran a 7 flat series. I call it Super Street Series.
Yeah.
But it's down here at a local little 8th-mile track at Pacemakers. We were on a 7 flat. Index. I ran that deal for over 5 years, and we were always on ladder because all my dad's cars, all my friends and everything, we shoot every race. We probably bring 8 cars, and I call them from the tower, and I said, "Boy, you guys did a bad job qualifying because some of you gonna have to run each other."
Right. So I'm assuming that you're probably going to end up getting some of the guys from the Can-Am Stock Super Stock Series to come down too, I would guess.
I'm seeing, hopefully, it's good money we're putting up, so, I'm seeing cars from everywhere coming up. I wouldn't doubt to see some of the Kentucky gang come up.
Oh, really? What? All I know is that for Super Comp and Super Street and Super Gas, for us, it's going to be a $100 entry. What is the entry for the Stock Super Stock deal?
$100 entry fee.
Okay, and then what are you paying to win?
I was hoping you didn't ask me. I know it's over our normal $1,500 the win deal.
Well, that's.
I don't know for sure because it was one of them deals where Jeff and Mike and Charlie and all them was putting all their money in together and.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
It's more money than what's normally supposed to be.
Yeah. And I will say that we've talked about doing a joint race with the Mid-Atlantic Super Gas Association, and if we were going to do something like that, like I said, we would basically put our purses together, right? Same idea. So yeah, you guys are paying good money, and I will say that's the same thing that we're doing. Because the entry fee, normally our entry fee is only $75. Because everyone was doing a $100 entry fee, I just decided to keep that the same. We're really lucky that we have some good sponsors that support us. So Life Storage is actually sponsoring both races.
That. Cool. Yep, that's a good deal. And that's a good deal because when I had my 7 flat series, I had like 6-7 sponsors, and you need sponsors for that.
Oh yeah,
make these things work right.
Yeah. What's nice is that we can keep the entry fee fairly low, but still pay decent money. So what we're going to do is, since we're going to up the entry fee to $100 to keep it consistent across all the classes, we're gonna guarantee the $1,000 to win, and we pay back 100% of the money that we take in. I do this basically because I want to race Super Gas and not do it to make money. So basically, every penny that I take in, and we put back out to the racers. So hopefully,
you sound like me.
Yeah.
I tell people, I said, you guys got to understand one thing. I do all this stuff, do the stats, I do these races and everything because I enjoy doing it. Because there's other things I could be doing if I'm thinking I'm going to sit here and make $1 million over it.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
That's why we started a podcast, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm a millionaire now from doing this podcast.
44 episodes in. Well, apparently we did something on the crash course.
You guys run this series long enough. You know as well as I do. You can't make money doing this stuff.
Right. Yeah. You definitely do it for the love of it, for sure.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm hoping that we get a good car count for the super gas at least, and I'd like to pay a lot of money out if we could. But it sounds
if everything goes right, Mother Nature is in our favor. Gosh, she's been rough on us this year.
Oh yeah, no. last 2 weeks for us, we've gotten as far as getting qualifiers done and rained out basically before first round. And
what do they do when you have a qualifier that's done, but you never ran anything else? Is it just a lost event, or do they try and make it up somehow?
So for us, we make it, let's call it I won't say a lost event. We're going to try and reschedule the events that we lost because of it. But
right. And that's hard to do when you run these series, like to reschedule these races, because we got into that problem last year because we lost a bunch of them on rainouts last year.
Like local circle tracks, if you get through the qualifying events, the feature will be made up the following week before the qualifiers start. So, like this weekend at Canandaigua, they had some issues with rain, so the sportsmen didn't get in.
Yeah,
like they got 6 laps in. But there's been other cases where they never even take the track. So that event happens first.
Okay,
they run the feature off.
Yep.
And then they move into the evening program. So you'll get double features and something. So I don't know if maybe Empire will be running a double bracket at some point. That'd be nice, right?
Well, it'd be interesting. I will say drag racing generally has always been, if we don't get through first round, then it's not an event.
Yeah.
You basically...
The way I always did it on my deal, if I didn't make it through first round, I mean, even if there was 4 cars left and it rained out, I gave everybody their money back.
Oh, yeah.
That was nice.
I said, hey, we didn't complete the round.
Yep. Yeah, and I know that's, that's what I did last weekend is, some of the guys, they were like, I think they were surprised that I was offering. I asked, you want your money back, or you just want to let it ride until the next event? And they're like, take my money back? I'm like, well, yeah, if you want to take your money back, I mean, I'm not paying anything out, so sure, if you want to take your money back, you can take it back. But yeah, a lot of guys aren't used to that. I mean,
yeah. Well, I like giving their money back because I tell everybody, I said, I realize everybody's schedules are different.
Right.
Yep.
And I says, when I go to reschedule this, I might not be on your schedule.
That's right. Yeah, I will say that I probably shouldn't say this on the air right before the race at Dragway 42, but, the other thing that I do is that if somebody breaks before first round, I give them their money back.
We do too.
Yeah, and...
Yep. Yeah, because that guy didn't come planning on breaking.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it.
I mean, he feels bad enough.
Right. That's right. Yeah, it sucks to go to the racetrack and break something. I mean, that's costing you money. Yep. I've always done that, and again, guys have always been just shocked that I've been willing to do that. Obviously, NHRA is not giving you your money back if you go to the races and break.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for playing. We'll see you next time.
Right. So do you have any idea? I mean, I guess, do you have a guess as far as how many cars you think we're going to be out there for the Stock Super Stock race?
I'm thinking, and I'm, like I say, sunshine and stuff, I would say a good 70 cars or more.
Whoa. Yeah, so...
Because Jeff asked me today when we called, I said, hey, is Great Lakes going to do the reaction time for the qualifying? And he says, well, yeah, but if you want to just random pair them first round, I said, oh, no. This is a ladder, man. I said, I'll be in the stage lanes pairing everybody up. He said, well, you'll have about 80 cars probably. I said, I don't care.
Well, I have to say that we've always done it. I've always done it on a ladder, though I might have a hard time finding a 70-car super gas ladder. If
I got them.
You got them? All right. Well, if we end up with 70 super gas cars, I'll definitely be coming to see you. So
are you going to yell at me to come up and help you pair too?
I might if I have 70 cars.
Yeah, the NHRA loves it that I love pairing cars. They always call on me to come help them pair cars up.
Now, how many races are you guys, let's call it NHRA races, are you guys going to nowadays?
Oh, shoot. We've done 7 so far this year.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
So you guys are still hitting a pretty full schedule then.
Oh, yeah. We've run every single division race this year in Division 3.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't...
And we've run 2 national events.
I'll say Norwalk and Chicago?
Norwalk and Bowling Green.
Oh, Bowling Green. Okay.
Yeah, Sports Nationals.
Yeah. Yep. I've never been to that track. That's a track.
We don't like doing the Chicago deal just because of the Jegs All-Star deal there, and it just kind of, to us, it kind of sets everything back.
Yep.
It's just, I don't know. It's just something about, we went up there we used to like going up there when they had the points meet the week before the national meet.
Right. Now, was your dad...
That made it nice.
Was your dad an All-Star?
No.
Okay, I was trying to remember if I...
No. No, we've never run competitively in the points enough to. Well, when he did, he finished 9th in the world one year in Super Comp. That's back when he was running the Monza in Super Comp still.
Oh, okay.
He's the only person in NHRA to ever win Super Comp and Super Gas with a Lenco car.
The Monza's not still a Lenco, is it?
No, it's got an automatic in now.
Okay, all right.
When he won the 2005 U.S. Nationals, it had an automatic in.
No kidding.
And by the way, you're kidding about those old-style snorkel scoops.
Yeah.
Both Monzas have those old-style snorkel scoops on them.
Yeah, so my Corvette, which I'll have out at Dragway 42, that's got a modern 1990-ish bubble scoop on it.
Yeah,
but
Dad don't. Now the new Lumina but Dad just he got the Lumina done here a couple of weeks ago. We bought the old rear Morrison titanium Lumina.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and it's the newest scratcher, but it's only seen the track twice, just in testing and stuff.
What's going on with the Monza?
I don't know yet. He wants to run if everything goes right, the Lumina will be a Super Comp car, and the Monza will stay in Super Gas.
Okay.
But he's got 5 cars.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, 2 dragsters and 2 Monzas and that Lumina.
Did your mom drive a Monza as well?
Yep. She drove a Monza also.
Okay, all right. Because I was going to say, I vaguely remember a while ago that,
She got runner-up at the U.S. Nationals in 91 to Troy Coughlin, because I always give her heck. I said, if you wouldn't have red lighted in the finals, the timers might have never came out. Because, see, Troy had that timer. That was that car he was going 200 mile an hour
with. Right,
yeah. And she red lighted. She went 390s in a row the last 3 rounds, and then she red lighted in the finals.
Bummer.
We cooled the transmission down too much.
Yeah. That's it's funny because that was my dad was still alive then, and we went to Columbus in 1990 and 91 for the Spring Nationals.
Yes.
And my recollection was that your mom and dad both were driving Monzas.
Yep. They were probably trying to think, and be 1991. They were yellow.
Okay. All right. And so, your dad never sold the other Monza.
Nope.
Well, good for him. He's got a little collection going, and he can decide how he wants to run.
Well, I kidded him around the other day when he was talking about the one Monza hasn't been doing good, and I said, it's pretty sad when you got to pick here which one you want to take.
And so you had said that your dad's going to be out at Dragway 42.
Yes.
And
he's going to be there, and we got like 4 or 5 other of my Dad's customers. They're going to be there running Super Gas, so you'll see a full field of Jackson cars there.
Well, that's great. I know we got probably 6 or 8 guys coming from Western New York here that are going to make the trek out, and I certainly know that I heard a bunch of other guys that from the general Ohio area that we're going to be there too.
The Eckert gang will be there. Not Theodore, but trying to think of. Tom Diamond, he just won Norwalk and stuff. He'll be there. You'll have a lot of good cars there.
Yeah. What's going to happen though is I'm gonna have to bring my autograph book. Is what's going to happen. I've competed against these guys, Chris.
Yeah.
But I've never really, for the most part, met them and socialized with them and stuff like that. So now that I'm a race director, right, I'm going to have to basically meet every single person.
Right.
So, Joe's dad, like I said, he's a legend. He's been doing
sign-ins, right? Because some of these guys...
You know what my dad's, one of the funniest comments I hear my dad say, he said, it's bad enough that I run some of these guys as kids. Now I'm running their grandkids.
Right.
Well, it's got to be strange, from your perspective, Jason, is you're waiting for people to sign in, and some of these people that you competed against but maybe you've never seen or you haven't seen in a while, so you ask what their name is, and then, that's you.
Oh, right. Oh, absolutely.
So, you turn a little red-faced, right?
That's right.
It's like, I know who you are.
Right.
I just didn't know you were you.
Yeah. Like he just mentioned, like Joe just mentioned, the Eckert boys. I know of them, again, just really legendary superclass racers, right? But I've never met them.
But
never
they can walk in here right now. And
I would know them.
That was your first world champion in Super Gas.
Yeah, I would know them.
Steve Eckert.
But, to meet those guys, it's like, what? Whoa, hold on! I got to bow down here.
Well, you don't have to get. You don't have to get
Now,
autographed.
here's one I'm waiting to see if he shows up to run. Is Nick? He bracket races there at 42 all the time.
Oh, really?
A Curry?
No, Nick Irucci.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the other guy that I was thinking this evening here before we went on. I mean, I don't know if Rock Haas is coming down.
Rock will probably be coming down. You're talking about Nick Curry. He's right there close.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So hopefully we'll have a pretty good show for them. I guess. I guess from as far as the Super Stock show goes, is there really anything else information wise that people have to know?
Not as long as you're a NHRA or IHRA legal stock, super stock car, come and play, or a legal nostalgia super stock type car. And you know the people knows the rules on that. If you run nostalgia super stock, you don't have to ask me what the rules for that is.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and I will say that I'm supposed to have a call with Gary and Gary tomorrow, kind of to talk about schedule. I know right now they told me that they have an event going on Friday. The gates are going to open at noon. Basically, if people pull into the track before 9 o'clock at night, they're going to have to pay a spectator entry.
Right.
There is a test and tune on that Friday, so
Yes.
that starts at 6, I think. So if you want to do a test and tune, you could pull in and get some test and tune done on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Tentatively, right now, gates open at 9:30 on Saturday, but on my brief conversation, they're thinking that they might have to open the gates a little bit earlier and start this earlier because of the number of cars that they're expecting to come down. So
I'm hoping they decide to open up around 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we can, because everybody's going to get 2 time trials and we'll start going for it.
That's right. So that's like I said, I'm going to have a conversation with them again tomorrow just to kind of finalize some of this stuff. But that's the information that I have.
And just let them know, because I'll talk to Gary Saturday, so just let them know that I'll be there to help out whatever I need to do too.
All right. Well, I will definitely let them know. Chris, it looked like you had something to ask.
No, I just was amazed. I mean, just thinking about the amount of time and effort to compile the statistics and to be this dedicated to the sport. And his parents are still running and staying active with it. And by running, I don't mean just going and making passes. By running, I mean going to every race possible, covering the ground and just doing the grind.
Well, last week I had 7 races I had to put new stats for.
You're nuts. That's cool though. I mean,
remember those 2 Division I Opens. That was 2 races in one weekend.
Right. Now, I'm assuming. I mean, your mom and your dad must still be pretty healthy to be going around and doing everything like they're doing.
I'll tell you what. I just hope I have half the energy them 2 have at their age.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They washed that big rig. They got a 65, 68-foot rig, toter home and stacker trailer. They wash it by hand once a week.
Wow. Jeepers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say that, I hope I have that kind of energy at that age as well. Cause,
I'm hoping I live until that age.
Right. Yeah, we'll need to try to see if we could schedule time to have your mom and your dad on the show too. That'd be super cool.
Yeah, just get a hold of me here one of these weekends that we ain't racing on a Thursday night. So.
All right, we'll definitely do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Nitro Joe, appreciate you coming on the show and hanging out with us for a little while.
No problem. Anytime, guys. Get a hold of me if you need any information or anything, and I'm always here for you.
Sure will. We wish you the best of luck with the show coming up at Dragway 42.
And I'll probably see you guys there.
Sounds good. We'll see you next
then.
weekend.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye now.
Bye.
Nitro Joe. Cool dude. And that race, again, not coming up this weekend. It is a week removed from this weekend. So just to verify that for everybody, it's going to be August 3rd, 4th over there, Dragway 42. No,
4th and 5th.
4th, 5th. Yeah, Saturday, Sunday, 4th and 5th. Locally, we do have something that we need to put some attention on to. The 19th annual Geneva Bid Cruising Night block party is coming up tomorrow night in downtown Geneva. And I got a phone call from the folks at the Finger Lakes Times to ask me to do a story on a car that is coming back to Geneva for the first time in 30 years.
Very cool.
It is Alex Lorenza's 1963 split window coupe.
Oh, no kidding.
It is on the road. They've done a little bit of restoration on it. It is being driven by his son. It stayed in the family. Awesome story. I'm going to get to meet these guys tomorrow. I am looking forward to it like crazy. Dave Beaudry's bringing his 76 Corvette. The 63 is going to be there. And then Steve Spencer is bringing his 41 Ford. And a 41 Ford would not be complete without a small block 350 Chevy in it.
Right.
So some of those guys are staying out at Sampson State Park. The car is all original. It hasn't been painted. It had a little bit of body work done to it after it was in a wreck.
Yeah.
But it is a original 63 split window that still has the bar in the back. They didn't do the factory recall deal where they put the glass in.
Yeah.
It's still got the split window in the back. It's really, really cool.
Do you know anybody else that has a 63 split window?
No. I don't know anyone. I met one guy, and I didn't realize what it was. It was a blue one.
You're joking, right?
Is yours a split window?
Mine is an original 63 split window.
I thought yours was older.
Nope.
I see all this time, because I don't know if we've ever actually talked directly about what year that is.
Yeah.
For some reason in my mind, it was always like a 59, 60, 58, 59, 60. I didn't realize this is a 63. It is.
That is a 63.
Well, I learned something. I guess I should have asked that question earlier than that. But yeah, I figured that's something that would get your attention.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you'll have to show them. I mean, they'll probably faint dead away if they were to see an original 63 split window and what my family has done to one. Mm-hmm. But you can still show them a picture and maybe get some shock value out of it.
Right. There was a blue one that I saw. I had to go cover way back when we were doing the test drive stuff. With the Finger Lakes Times, we would go. I don't even remember what they call it. I don't remember what the name of it was. Anyway, we would go to a dealership, and I would test drive one of the new releases. So the new Taurus, the new King Ranch, whatever. And one of the things that we did is part of that feature is we covered a Corvette get together in Rochester. And I want to say it was at Hazelton, but I can't. I'd be making it up if I even said.
Yep.
And there was a blue one, and it was just breathtaking to look at. It was beautiful. The blue just sparkled. It was just the prettiest colored blue. I've always been a fan of that body style Corvette with the blue paint on it.
Yeah.
Any blue Corvette. I don't go nuts for Corvettes, but those are up there. And
I have to say that I'm definitely partial to the blue as well. Billy Lieber and I have talked about this a lot, and some of the older blues, just some really, really nice colors on the Camaros and Corvettes. And if I had to pick a color other than red, I mean, my Corvette's been red basically since it was born.
Right.
But if I had to pick another color to paint it, blue would be my second color.
But all that happens 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock on tomorrow night.
And where is that?
Downtown Geneva, 1 Franklin Square. They cordon off Seneca Street, and they're probably going to cordon off part of, I think it's Exchange Street. And they just line cars up in front of the old Lynch building. They knock the front windows out of the old Lynch building. They have bands up there. They have bands over in the park. There's food vendors. There's wineries. There's wine tasting. There's something for everybody. But last year, my buddy James Brown, the last 2 years actually, has had derby cars there.
Oh, really?
So you've got a numbers matching mint hunter green Pontiac GTO with the big shaker style hood with a stuffed tiger sitting on top of it, and right across the way is a 1995 Lumina that's been twisted to all hell.
Right.
The optics are cool.
And I just said, just while we were talking here, just to look at what the weather forecast is, and the weather forecast looks gorgeous for tomorrow.
Yep.
81 degrees for a high, partly sunny. It's going to be absolutely perfect.
And it's right along. I mean, it's right along the lakefront. You can walk across the street. There's plenty of places to go get dinner downtown. In addition to the restaurants, in addition to the food trucks, there's all the restaurants. Then you can go across the street and you can go to the lake. They just redid all that lakefront at the Chamber of Commerce. It's going to be awesome. I got to go there tomorrow. I've already done all the interviews. I got to go there tomorrow to get photos of the car and meet the guys, and then the stuff will run in Sunday's paper. So if you want to know more about it, Finger Lakes Times, Sunday morning.
Cool.
Yes, I'm stoked. I had a great conversation with Steve, the guy who did a little bit of the work. He's a big Chevy guy.
Yep.
And he goes, it was so cool to work on this thing instead of like a Tri-5 Bel Air.
Right.
Because I've done a couple of those, but
Yeah.
but the 63 had never been in his shop.
Yeah.
So it was cool. Very cool. That's going to do it for this one. We're going to be back again in a couple weeks to talk more about Jason's excursion down to Dragway 42 and all of the racing in and around the area. So appreciate everybody tuning in to hang out with us for us here tonight. Surprise, we are back on the air. We didn't go anywhere. Episode 45 is forthcoming in 2 weeks. We'll see everybody then. This has been the Final Round Drag Racing Podcast, coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. We'll see you right back here again in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.